providing growth opportunities and catching new customers. If that 100 million were spread over just that dozen or so new customers, certainly not. Now, what's not talked about is this contract, this 100 million must be paid in full, regardless of how much of that capacity is actually used. All of it, some of it, or none of it. I won't go into the other details, but the total cost does not include the allowance for funds used during construction. That'll be added to capital before the new rates are calculated. Roanoke Gas does admit that the connection to the industrial park can be served by connecting to the existing system. And that new connector would be East Tennessee Gas. East Tennessee Gas, the rates for transporting gas on that pipeline are 5 to 8 times less than the cost of transporting gas on the MVP. And it would also allow Roanoke Gas to increase its capacity in smaller increments, which saves customers money. Perhaps half or more of the MVP wouldn't be used for a decade or more, but yet the customers would have to pay the cost of it, the full cost of it from the outset. And there have been misleading statements on the record about no additional capacity being available. The documents that have been included in the rebuttal testimony show screen captures and so forth about unsubscribed capacity, and that's very misleading. Most new pipelines today are fully subscribed. In fact, the MVP is fully subscribed. That makes you think that no capacity is available, but over 99% of the capacity of the MVP is in search of customers. In fact, the East Tennessee letter to Roanoke Gas says additional volumes necessitate construction of new facilities. There's nothing that says a new firm capacity agreement could not be made with East Tennessee, only that an expansion of the existing facilities would be required in order to get that capacity into Roanoke Gas's facility. Same situation with Columbia. They've expanded their capacity that's 130 times greater than the amount that the MVP would provide. For the commission to really sort this out, Roanoke Gas should make an explicit request to both East Tennessee and Columbia Gas for a firm capacity contract, so the cost and terms of that could be compared with the MVP. Probably in lower increments, 4,000 to 5,000 rather than the 10,000 to save customers for paying for capacity that they won't be using. Now the option to deal with this, well, let's just go back and assume that the MVP is connected. The best case would be $100 million to spread over the existing rate base. That would give Roanoke Gas a significant surplus over what they have now, probably a decade or more before that capacity has value, and ratepayers would pay $5 million a year whether they get any benefit or not. This would drive down the usage of gas of customers because the price will increase. You put $100 million on top of the existing rates that the customers already have. That would be quite a detriment to economic development. This project is not a recipe for greater economic development in the Roanoke area. Adding $100 million to energy costs for families and businesses would not drive the economy in that area. Quite the opposite. The worst case is if in a fuel factor case, the commission recognizes that this expense is not prudent and doesn't allow recovery from the customers. That would hobble Roanoke Gas and its parent company by making them fulfill that $100 million contract without the ability to recover those costs. There's been some suggestion that maybe Roanoke Gas could sell that capacity contract. But the price of transportation on the MVP is so expensive. It will deliver gas to its connection with Transco that's 40 to 60% higher than the gas that's already flowing through the system at that point. No one's going to want to pay that much more for that extra capacity. So the utility and its parent company would be stuck with an obligation that would harm its financial interest. Otherwise, the community is stuck with that obligation, which will harm their financial interest. The point I'm making is there is an opportunity for the commission to tell Roanoke Gas that it can exit this contract in June 2020. It has only 30 days to notify Mountain Valley Pipeline of that intention. If it doesn't do it within that 30-day period, its ability to withdraw from the contract is void. So what I'm suggesting to the commission is you very seriously look at this. There has been no application for a certificate of public convenience and necessity for this connection. There's been no analysis of the need. There's just an assumption that it's a good thing. It will add a great cost to the customers of Roanoke Gas, profits to the gas parent company, but a potential liability that will be hard to exit from. So I just ask that the commission look carefully at this. There is capacity available out there on the existing pipelines, much cheaper. The rates of transporting gas on those pipelines is 16 to 25 cents. It's $1 to $1.36 on the Mountain Valley Pipeline. Price of gas is the same. All three of those pipelines take gas from similar production areas in West Virginia. So there is no advantage in terms of accessing a lower price supply or delivering gas more cheaply using the Mountain Valley Pipeline. The customers of Roanoke Gas, as well as the company itself, deserves a more thorough look at the alternatives to see if costs can be lowered. One last suggestion is that Roanoke Gas use its access to capital to enter into contracts with energy service companies to reduce the use of gas, especially in its commercial and industrial customers. This would lower their cost of operations. Roanoke Gas could make money from their use of capital, and the entire community would be benefited instead of hurt by the connection to the MVP. Thank you.